All right, so ladies and gentlemen, Kari Lake is here. That's not the introduction. I just get excited. I like saying that, but she's outside. So I want to say the reason why I just talked to Kari and I said to her, yes, of course, we invited you to be a part of this weekend because you're incredibly popular and America loves you, and they do, don't they? We do. But that's not the only reason why we invited Kari Lake. As I told most of you on Friday who were here on Friday, as we designed the weekend and we selected the people that we wanted to speak and be a part of it, we intentionally chose people who supported us, not just in the good times, not just when everything was going smoothly and swimmingly, but even in the difficult times, even when the dark clouds came, even when the darkness came, the people who continued to stand by us. Let me share a little anecdote about Kari Lake before we bring her out. So, Lord, I have to think back. So it would have been, what, a couple of years ago now. She was, had announced that she was running for governor. I first became aware of her. I'm really struggling right now to remember, like, the time, 2022. So it would have been early in 2022. I saw a video going viral of this really beautiful, poised, stunning, sophisticated woman just handing an Australian reporter his ass. Do you guys remember that? He was just like, oh, Kari Lake, you support an insurrectionist. Oh, Kari Lake, well, but you're really behind Donald Trump, aren't you? And she was just like calm and cool as a cucumber. And she's like, sir, you are a douchebag. She didn't really say that. But we knew that's what she was saying in the very proper language that Kari Lake uses as she handles the media as well as she does. Anyway, I saw this video and I told my team, I was like, we have to meet her. Like, she's so awesome. This woman is like, she's incredible. And so we reached out to her right away. Now, remember, this is while I was in the middle of dealing with my January 6th case. You know, the media is like around the world calling me a domestic terrorist and an insurrectionist and like toxic waste. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know, this woman, she's totally going to be taking off. Like, she's not going to want to have anything to do with us at this point because we're going to be so toxic and radioactive to her campaign. But, I was like, it doesn't hurt to try, right? That's the only way that you find out. So we reached out to her team and we were just like, hey, walk away campaign. We used to not be radioactive, and just wondering if there's any chance that we could meet. And like, they got back to us immediately. And actually, I think we heard directly from Kari. And Kari said, she was like, I love you guys. I love what you're doing. And she was like, I would love to do an event with you. I am not afraid to associate with you or the Walk Away campaign. And she said, I don't believe in canceling people. And she said, I don't believe in getting, behind this left-wing narrative of January 6th. I'm not falling for any of it. And she did. So, I mean, the reason why I'm telling you this story is that the election was still coming up. She still at the time was, somewhat unknown to some people. So she had everything to risk by associating with us. And she did it anyway. At a time when it could have been the most costly to her, she said, no, what's happening to these people is wrong. What's happening to you is wrong, and I don't play that game. And at that moment, I thought, this is exactly the kind of person America needs on our side, fighting for us. She's strong, she's bold, she's smart, she's beautiful, she's poised, she's incredible, she's America first. And she's about to come out here right now, speak to us for a little bit, and then she and I are going to sit down one-on-one and have some Q&A, and if there's time, we'll hear from you guys as well. Please welcome my dear friend and just amazing human being, Kari Lake.
Wow. Thank you, Brandon. That was so nice. That was so kind. You guys are just a sight for sore eyes. You really are. And let me tell you, my eyes are sore. I've been on a red eye, okay? They're probably bloodshot as well from all of that. I'm so happy to be here. I had a chance to meet many of you. We had the camera, the picture line, and I got to talk to many of you. I'm just really impressed that here we are. You're 3 days into almost a workshop on how to go out and take back our country. And you're still here on day 3. That means you had a good time. You've learned so much. You're ready to go out there and save our country. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I'm really honored that I'm here at this moment in history, that God placed us here. So I just want to give you some encouragement. You've been probably, I know you had a lot of good laughs. Somebody said last night was hilarious. You guys laughed nonstop for 2 hours, which is great because that's why God gave us a sense of humor. That is kind of the relief valve when we're stressed or worried. This is why these leftists don't want us laughing about anything. You notice? They want to take all of the joy out of our lives. So one of the things that we can do going forward is to make sure that we don't let them do that. That means we go out every day, we smile, we have a good time while we're fighting to save our country, because we're going to be really busy the next year. But yes, but we have to do it with joy, because nothing makes these people more angry. This is really good versus evil. Nothing makes the devil more angry than when we're happy, when we're joyous. So let's not let them take that from us. And then go out and use the most important, powerful weapon we have. Now I know someone's going to go, uh-oh, she's going to get in trouble. What's she going to say? The most important weapon we have is our voice. That's why they've been trying to silence us. That's why they've been canceling people. That's why they've been firing people for speaking the truth. That's why they've been firing people for talking out about vaccines, masks. Remember when we couldn't talk about all that stuff? And it took a few brave people to say, no, 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 you're not taking my voice away. And they started talking. And then they started speaking out. And then when you see that courageous act, you go, okay, that person survived. Maybe I can speak out. And I think Brandon's an incredible example of that, because he's been through hell and back, and he just keeps getting back up. And he says, you're not taking me down. And I think that's why we're kind of kindred spirits, but I have a feeling we all are in this room. Because when they did what they did to us just a little over a year ago by sabotaging Election Day and trying to take the voice of the people of Arizona, they thought I would just lay down and die. They don't want me in the political arena. I'm dangerous. I'm a fed up mom, a middle-aged mom. That's dangerous to them. And so I realized that what they did to us was meant to keep outsiders, good, powerful voices for America First, out. And so if I did get out, if I didn't jump back in the arena, then we're giving them the victory. And they didn't earn that victory, and they don't deserve that victory. So I've jumped back in. I'm running for United States Senate in Arizona, if you haven't heard. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm just one person in this movement, and I'm no more important than anybody in this room. I'm really not. I might be louder. I might be a little more well-known. Yes, because I occasionally clobber the media, and they deserve it. You can't say that Samuel Adams was more or less important than Paul Revere, or more or less important than Betsy Ross. They were all needed. We can't do this alone. We can't put everything on President Trump and expect him to do it alone. It's going to take each and every one of us doing what God gave us, using our God-given abilities this next year. And you might say, well, what are my abilities? I don't really have any. First of all, you do. You have a voice. You got a mind. You got a fist to knock on doors, right? You've got the ability to volunteer. Maybe you have money in your account and you're thinking you're going to save it for a big fancy vacation. No, no, no. Donate it to organizations that matter. Donate it to candidates that you believe in. Because guess what? In a year, if we don't save this, that vacation's not going to be very relaxing. That money's not probably going to be worth much. We already know that $1 under President Trump is only worth 85 cents now under Joe Biden. So if you invest $1,000 into a movement, an organization that you believe in that's doing good things, a candidate, you know, that's going to go a long way to saving our country. So we have a lot of things we can do. I'm just here to give you a little tiny bit of encouragement that we are so blessed to be here, right here at this difficult moment. You go, Kari, you need to get some sleep. Are you serious? No, we are, and here's why. Because God doesn't make mistakes. He placed us here at this pivotal moment. Really did. You know, we could have been born 100 years ago. Maybe there's somebody who's 100 here who's like, yeah, I was born 100 years ago. But we were born to be here at this incredibly pivotal moment in not just American history, but I believe in human history. I think it's that important. And so when you're feeling down, when you kind of wake up in the morning and go, oh gosh, well, how much more can we take? Change your attitude and say, thank you, God, for putting me here. That means that you know I'm the one, I'm part of this movement to take our country back. And that's what I do every day. People say, how do you stay positive? That's how I stay positive. I look at the big picture, and there's going to come a day when our great-grandkids look at us and say, thank you for what you did to save America. Thank you for what you did. And we're going to be able to tell them that we were very active in that. So with that, I told Brandon I want to come, but I just want to have a conversation and hang out with you. And he said, okay. I really meant like you and I would go out and have a drink and have a conversation. I didn't know we were going to do it in front of all these people. So he agreed, and then he invited all of you into the conversation. So come on up. Am I here?
Thank you very much. So I'm going to tell you something right now. If I had known back when you agreed to do this that you were going to take a red, Kari Lake took a red eye to be. She literally has. Can we give her a round of applause? She hasn't slept.
You don't know the half of it. 24 hours ago, I was up in the mountains of, not mountains, but kind of the mountains in Arizona, in Prescott. And I feel like it's been like the longest day just never ended.
I know.
Now I'm over here in Florida.
Yeah, well, a couple things. So if I had known this, I would have just made this a pajama brunch. Don't you wish we were just in pajamas?
Yes.
Right? Wouldn't that be nice? Next time we're going to do a pajama brunch with Kari Lake.
I love it.
Because you know what? It's day 3 of the conference. I literally woke up today and I was like, do I even need to take a shower?
Yeah.
Like, I did. I did, but I was like, it's day 3. Like, who cares what you smell like?
At this point, you're at day 3. You're all family, right?
We're all family.
Right.
Yesterday we did an outdoor rally at Mar-a-Lago. It was 105 degrees. We all got on the same bus. We had the worst BO.
Oh my gosh.
We're all so close to each other at this point. Yeah, pajama brunch, no big deal.
You should have jumped in the pool over there.
Yeah. Well, we weren't in Mar-a-Lago. We were on the bridge. We were like the people on the bridge. That was us.
I think I saw video of that. Yeah. No, but I love it when you invited me to do that event with you, and you told the story, and you know, I just didn't look at it as controversial. There were people who said, "What? You're going to be seen with Brandon?" And I go, "Yeah, he's a great guy. He's fun. He's patriotic. He's been wrongfully persecuted. Why would I punish him further for that? He didn't do anything wrong." And I really think that you and
Thank you.
many of the people, I'm not going to say all of them, but the majority of the people who were there that talked to me said it was a beautiful, patriotic day. And then when things started going wrong at the Capitol, they just felt a very evil presence, kind of, and they knew something wasn't right. And now, as we're learning more and more and more, and I believe the truth will fully come out, we're going to find out there were some real culprits. And there are some people who should be behind bars right now. But it's not the ones that are behind bars.
Not the ones who are, right.
Yeah. Right. So I was really honored, and we had a really great time. And I don't believe in canceling people. That's wrong. And too many people have been canceled. And so I hope that we never shy away from the true patriotic people who love our country. That's just how I feel.
A moment ago, as you were wrapping up, you made some comment saying something along the lines of, you know, I'm just like the rest of you. I might be a little more well-known. Could I ask you to make a promise to me right now?
Oh, boy.
You know how we do.
I think, yes.
I think that you are at this point, you are literally one of the most popular, well-known America First people in this country right now.
Okay.
But I also find you to be one of the most genuinely kind, nice, authentic, and easy to work with people.
Thank you.
Will you never change?
I'm from a big family, and if you've ever had like an older sister or brother kind of hit you upside the head when you do something stupid, you just, if you start acting too big for your britches
Right.
and get hit upside the head, I just have that like memory. So no, I won't change.
You won't change.
No.
Thank you.
What's so, thank you for saying that, by the way. I do try to stay very humble, and because I don't see myself as being a big deal. I'm not. I'm just like I said, I'm a fed up mom. I used to say my profession is I'm a mom, even though I had a pretty big career in media for 30 years, but my most important job was being a mom, and now I've added fed up to that because it's a level of danger when you're like dealing with moms who are fed up. It's like they have unleashed someone said the mama bears, that's right. The sleeping giant has been awoken.
Yes.
And that is the pissed off moms in this country.
Yep.
And there's a big difference between mom when she's mad. You can kind of smooth talk her. Yeah, someone's like, oh yeah, when mom's mad, you're like, okay, mom, it's gonna be okay. When mom's pissed off, sometimes you just stay away. You're like, this is danger.
Yeah.
So the mama bears are out, and we're gonna save the country.
Love it.
And the papa bears, and the uncle bears. You don't even have to have kids necessarily. If you worry about the children and their future, then you can be part of that Mama and Papa Bear Club, because that's what it's about. We've had a good life. We've had an America that we had freedoms and liberties, and we had our First Amendment, and our everything was kind of intact. And now we're looking at it. We look into the faces of young people, and we go, I don't think they're going to have the life we had. And as a matter of fact, it could get really bad for them.
Right.
And communism would be really bad. And so that's what we're up against right now.
That's the message that I hear overwhelmingly from the people in this movement, who we refer to as the walk-withs, which are typically people who are lifelong conservatives or Republicans who walk with those who walk away. Some of them walked away themselves, but it was so long ago that they say, well, at this point, I'm a walk-with. But a lot of them say, I've had a good life. I was able to create my own business. I was able to buy my own home. I was able to do pretty well for my family. I don't believe my children or grandchildren will be able to have that experience, and that terrifies me. And that's why I think that they support movements like Walkaway, because they wanted to awaken, especially young people in this country who are just falling for these narratives that they're being taught in now grade school. I was going to say high school, college, but my God, they're starting at 5 years old at this point.
Would you believe they're starting in preschool? I had a supporter who ran a huge preschool network, and he said they're pushing CRT and all of that garbage in, and if we want to get federal dollars, we have to do it. I said, are you kidding me? I mean, you've seen the books they're pushing. This stuff is just, it's wrong. It's immoral. It's wrong. And then they call us book burners.
Right.
It's like, really?
Right.
Okay, I don't want my 5-year-old to read something that's pornographic, okay? That's not book burners, okay? Or banning books. We just want age-appropriate things for our kids, and that's not appropriate. So there's some really crazy stuff going on out there, and everyone's waking up and saying, this is just not normal. This is not sustainable, and we have to fight back against it. And I'm glad people are waking up. Really glad to see it.
I want to start with kind of a moment of self-reflection, because obviously, as I said, America loves you. You're incredibly popular in the last couple of years. I want to hear from you why. Why does America love Kari Lake? What do you think?
Do they?
No, do we?
Thank you.
We do. We do.
Well,
what do we see in you, do you think?
The media wants you to think that everyone is against us, right? I mean, for example, go back to the Walkaway. When you started it, I was so inspired by that. You didn't know me at the time. I was working as a journalist. I would see those videos going viral. I cried at many of those videos, watching the difficulty for someone to kind of step out and say, I'm a Republican. For some people, that was a huge thing. They'd been taught they were Democrats, and that's who they are, and their identity was there. So they had to bring you down, because it was so powerful. I remember as a journalist trying to get us to cover those stories because there were so many good ones, and there was no interest in talking about it. I said, wait a minute, you mean if Obama would have started a walk-away movement and people were walking away from the Republican Party and these videos were going, the media would have eaten that up. But they wouldn't touch your stories. They had to, you became a huge target because what you were putting out was changing, opening up people's minds, softening their hearts, and making them wake up. And that's why they had to shut you down and lock you up.
Well, the media did cover us. They just called us Russian bots and disinformation and propaganda. So we did get some coverage.
So, so then when we ran an incredible race for governor, which I'm so proud of, people go, what would you do? Yeah, thank you. And I know the people of Arizona. I was in their homes for 3 hours a day. They invited me into their homes. And so when I quit my career because I didn't want to take part in it, it had become pure propaganda, and walked away from a 7-figure contract, the people were really moved by that. I didn't realize that it was going to make an impact. I just wanted to I put a video out. I wanted to let people know why I wasn't going to be in their homes on their TV screen anymore. I didn't want them to just think I vaporized. Or that Anthony Fauci killed me or something like that. So I put a little video out and we uploaded it, and apparently that video touched a lot of people. They were really moved by that, and it was an act of courage. And they immediately started reaching out to me by the hundreds and thousands of people. And many of the Arizonans said, would you please run for office? We need somebody who we trust, who we know, who understands the issues that we're facing, because I'd covered Arizona for 27 years. I understood all the issues, all the players, all the political people, the ones who said they were going to do something but then never did. And I thought, this is actually maybe what kind of God freed me up for. So I stepped into the political arena, and I think people saw in me, and they still do, a fighter. And there are things worth fighting for. And every time we've elected people before that we get excited about, or we go, okay, here's somebody who's solid Republican, get them into office, and then we watch as they cower. We get a fight that we need to have. There are fights that we need to have. And they walk away, not in a good way. They walk away from the fight. They straddle the fence. They don't speak up. They cower, or they side with the Democrats. And it's like, we sent you to Washington, D.C. to fight for us. And then when you get the tough battles that we really wanted you to be strong for, you cowered, you walked away, or you sided with the Democrats. And we're so frustrated with that. And so when they see a fighter, someone who, after we get knocked down, after they did what they did on Election Day, which is pretty much rolling out broken equipment so that Election Day was sabotaged and people's votes didn't count, and people had to wait in line 4 to 6 hours, and they thought I was going to walk away, and I said, no, I'm going to stand up and fight this. And people were so happy that I did it, because they know something's wrong in our elections, and they know that if we don't stand up and do something, we're not going to have a country. So I think that's one of the reasons. They went, wow, this woman is not afraid to say what's important, talk about what's important, fight for what's important. And it helps that I go after the media sometimes. Right. That gives me like an extra credit, right? They're so easy, though. I mean, I just did an interview with Showtime's The Circus. They actually call the show The Circus. And it was me versus 2 guys, and I took them on in a pretty strong way. And it was really fun because they reveal who they are. I'm just standing there. I want to have a substantive conversation. I'm happy to do an interview with anybody. Can we talk about the issues? Because there's a lot of stuff that's really important right now that people can't afford to get by. They've got a wide open border. Our southern border is wide open. Cartels are controlling it. Cartel members armed, going back and forth, controlling it. Fentanyl killing a young generation. We have an energy crisis practically because Joe Biden has destroyed what once incredible energy policy that President Trump had put in place. We're on the verge of World War III, if not already in it. We have zero respect around the world. I mean, there's some important things to talk about. And these people in the fake news want to talk about the stupidest stuff. Like they want to, attack President Trump, or they want to ask me why I'm an election denier. And I'm like, you guys don't realize how much people are suffering. And so it's really easy to go after these fools in the media because they're so out of touch. And they just reveal who they are, and it's fun. I gotta have fun sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta have fun, like we did last night. I agree with all that. I think those are the reasons, some of the reasons why America loves you. I think a big part of it too is that you make it look so easy when you're fighting back against these people as they're attacking people like the people in this room. And I think that for a lot of the people in this room, because not everyone is a great communicator like Kari Lake or has that skill. And they look at someone like you and they think, I wish I could stand up for myself the way she stands up for us or for herself. We wish we had that skill. When in fact, I think the lesson should be, you don't have to be as good as Kari Lake at standing up for yourself. You just have to stand up for yourself.
Yes. Yep.
Because the truth is, when the left is fighting us, they're not saying anything substantive. They're just screaming, you're a racist.
Right.
You're a Nazi. You're a bigot. They're not saying anything intelligent. I mean, if at the very least you just stand up and you say, no, I'm not. You're an idiot.
Super simple. Right.
Super simple.
You're right. Just speaking out.
Just speak out.
And that's what we've got to get. We've got to get not loud, not volume loud, but just use our voice more. Speak out. Have these conversations. Call your congressman. Just let people know where you stand. I mean, the left's been doing it for a long time and shaming us, and we're the ones on the right side of history here.
That's
I really
right.
believe that. And so we got to use our voice, and that means getting involved, standing up. Just imagine like they're the fake news, and you're me. And just that if that's what you need to energize yourself to go after these people who are pushing this nonsense on us.
So speaking of standing up, staying in the fight, you're running for Senate in Arizona.
I feel like I've been on a never-ending campaign. 525 days campaigning for the most amazing governor's run, I think, in Arizona history, and one of the best in the country. It was all based on incredible, common sense, Arizona first policy that was going to be good for all Arizonans. And of course, the media tries to make it look like you're right-wing extremist. And I said, there's nothing extreme about wanting to secure the border. There's nothing extreme, yeah. I challenge them now. I go, what's extreme? Just please point out what's extreme, because if it is extreme, then maybe we can talk about that. But there's nothing extreme about wanting a strong economy and safe streets and wanting to, tackle the chronic street homelessness that's plaguing our cities. There's nothing extreme about this, but they have to label it that way. So 525 days on the governor's run. Then we started the battle for fair, honest elections, which we're still in the middle of. Like I said, 3 cases moving forward. That was about another year of, I kept thinking, one of these days I'm gonna have a week or 2 just to relax. No, nope. It's just so important, this seat in Arizona, because you might be from other parts. I know many of you are from other parts of the country. Why is Arizona important? Why should it be important to you? Because Arizona is a seat we can pick up. Put it in the hands of not just a Republican, but an America First Republican. And get the majority back to the Republicans. And President Trump's going to need backup when he gets in the White House. He's going to need Republicans who are not going to block him from passing his America First agenda, but they're going to help him pass that America First agenda. So I'm excited about it. We're going to work tirelessly and quickly to secure the border. We're going to immediately start working to bring back President Trump's energy policy, which was incredible. I don't know about you. I don't want to be reliant on Middle East oil and energy.
Right.
We don't have to. We got plenty right below our feet.
That's right.
So we're going to get back to some common sense policies. But what we have to do is turn a lot of what President Trump did, that great policy, into law, so that we don't get some other bumbling fool, years down the line, like another Joe Biden. Although I don't think we'd ever do that. But we don't want to. What we saw how President Trump had great policy, and then immediately it got overturned. We need to set this stuff into law so that we have it into law. It's enshrined in law. We want a secure border. We don't want to have somebody coming in later on and doing what Biden did again. So he's going to need some good people, some backup.
Well, and overturned out of spite. I mean, President Trump made us energy independent, and on day 1 of President Biden coming in with the stroke of a pen, we lost our energy independence.
I don't think it was out of spite. I think it was his desire to destroy our country. I believe that. And I say that now because we now know he's not just incompetent. Yes, Joe Biden is incompetent. But more dangerous than that, he's compromised. He's been bought and paid for by the CCP, by Ukraine, by Burisma, by Kazakhstan, by Russia. I mean, Iran probably. Who knows who else? Because he's got like 5 different aliases. And they've got 80+ thousand emails that he was sending under those aliases. I think we're going to find out that the corruption is not just an inch deep, it's probably like 100 miles deep. And this man is so corrupt that when he came in on day one, he wasn't thinking, how can I make America great? How can I keep America going? We were already in pretty good shape. Right. He was saying, how can we tear this down? Right. Because he's owned by the CCP, so he came in, he opened our borders. People have been flowing across our border. In Arizona, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. Millions of people pouring across. China working in conjunction with the cartels to send the ingredients over for the most dangerous drug we've ever seen, fentanyl, and is pouring in, taking a young generation. And this is somebody who's not working for America. That's somebody who's working against America. The energy thing that he did to destroy our energy sector, all those high-paying jobs, thousands of them went away. They went away. So then all of a sudden we have people who are unemployed. They're making less money. That's less revenue going into the government. And now we're in a bigger hole. I mean, every single thing he's done, every problem we're seeing in the world right now, it traces right back to Joe Biden and his moves that are not just incompetent, but those moves by a compromised man. And so we got to get him out of office ASAP, get President Trump back in there.
There's water over there too. You touched for a moment ago on the fentanyl crisis, and you have been one of the most outspoken people about the problems that we have at our border. Of course, Arizona being kind of ground zero for the border crisis. So why are things so dire at the border, and how do we solve this crisis?
Well, on day one, Joe Biden came in, as you all know, and pulled back what was the greatest border policy that I'd ever seen. And I say that after covering Arizona for 27 years as a fair and honest journalist. You know, I'd seen the border a mess. I'd seen people talk about it, politicians complain about it, and then do nothing. President Trump came in and immediately started securing that border. He started building the wall. He started enforcing the laws we have and supporting our border patrol, sending people back, using every method he could to keep people from coming over illegally. And he had to do that, by the way, with not just the Democrats beating up on him, but the Republicans and the media as well. And he did it single-handedly, pretty much. And on day one, Joe Biden came in, pulled that back. Day one, hour one, pulled it back with a wink and a nod, invited the world to come over, and the cartels now have full operational control on our border in Arizona. As I said, they go back and forth. We've got video. I'm sure you've seen it. The cartel members back and forth. They're armed. They're moving people across. It's outrageous. But the drugs, to me, the fentanyl crisis was one of the hardest things to see on the campaign trail. I knew about fentanyl, but I think, like many people, I thought, oh, well, these are people who are drug addicts, and it's really sad, but, you know, they chose to maybe use the drugs, right? This isn't what's happening. I mean, when you talk to a mother who says, my daughter took half a Xanax pill, she was 22, and she died. It was you shouldn't die from half a pill of anything, okay, guys? She thought it was a real Xanax. Now, granted, I don't take pills, so, but a lot of people do. They take it if they've got anxiety or whatever. She thought it was a real pill, did not know it was counterfeit, did not know it had fentanyl in it. And she died, and now they're raising her little boy, who barely got to even know his mom. And this was not a 1 or 2 time story that I heard. I heard this every single week on the campaign trail. My son took one of my dear friends, she's become my good friend, Karen and Clark, their son, Tyler, took what he thought was a Tylenol 3. He'd injured his wrist during COVID, couldn't get to a doctor, couldn't sleep from the pain because, you know, everything was like locked down. And his neighbor said, I can give you a Tylenol 3, then you'll sleep through the night, it'll take the pain away. He never woke up. These are the stories you hear every single week on the campaign trail. I'm sorry, I'm a mom, and it's really, really hard. Because you think of the things we've accomplished in our lives. I mean, I'm a 50-something-year-old woman. I've done some good things, some stupid things in my life, but overall, I've been able to accomplish a lot. That 22-year-old daughter, we don't know what she was going to accomplish. The 19-year-old who died, what would they have accomplished? What would they have done? How would they have changed the world? And they're gone. And it doesn't have to be this way. And Joe Biden did that. Joe Biden did that. And these people who are for open borders have blood on their hands. And what they wanted to, it's a couple of things. They like to create industries around problems. And I'll give you an example with the homeless industry and even the border. My liberal opponent, Ruben Gallego, completely far left Marxist, he said to me, I want to work with you to secure the border. I said, no, you don't want to work with me because you voted down the wall. We have to have the wall. We have to keep people from coming over. We have to take on the cartels. And what they want to do is keep the border open. They don't want to put the money on securing the border. And then they pour money into the NGOs and the nonprofits that are assisting in moving people once they get over here. It's like having an artery that's been cut, and you're bleeding all over the place, and somebody is busy spending money on paper towels to wipe up the blood. No, you have to address the artery, okay? And the artery is the wide open border. But they want to pour money into all of these different areas because that's power and control. Then they say, hey, we're going to give you some money for your NGO. And what are you going to do for us? You're going to get your people out to vote for us. We're going to give you money. We're going to put money in this community, in this place. I'll tell you what, these border communities, they don't want you to just throw money at them. They want you to stop the people coming across so that they can rebuild their community. The hospitals are on the verge of shutting down because they can't afford to operate anymore with all the people coming in that can't pay. The food banks are empty. All of the, we have a housing crisis already, and now we're housing people here illegally. Millions of people are here illegally. Where do you think they're staying? Yeah, they're staying in hotels and apartments, and they're being put up, and we're paying for it. And Americans are homeless. It's just so backed up. And the same thing with the homeless industry. When you create an industry around a problem, there's no interest in solving the problem. The social services industry sees a dollar sign on homeless people. And why would they want to solve the problem when there's so much money, municipal, city money, county money, state money, and federal money going into the homeless crisis? Sometimes people don't want to solve it because there's so much money being poured into it. And so it's poisonous. It really is. And so we need to start looking at problems that way and say, how do we truly solve the problem, not just pour money into an industry that's been created around the problem.
So what are your top priorities as a U.S. Senator?
Border, immediately. Secure the border and take on the cartels. And to me, the really two immediately day one things are restore the energy policy that President Trump had that made us energy independent. And the reason for that is obviously when he came in and shut down the Keystone XL pipeline and it just made life hell for people trying to drill for natural gas and oil, is that immediately it spiked our energy cost. Obviously, we all know how much gasoline is. It's like, I don't know what it is in Florida right now, but in Arizona, it's $5 a gallon. I was in LA not too long ago, and it was $7 a gallon. So when that happens, every single thing we buy, from the clothing we're wearing to the groceries, it goes up in price. That was a big part of it. That was a big part of all the spike in cost of everything, because everything's trucked across the country. And that created this huge increase in prices, and this is why people, when you go to the grocery store, you used to be able to get 3 bags of groceries for maybe $100, and now you're maybe lucky if you get 1 bag for $100. Yeah, yep. And so immediately that's going to, bring down the price of our energy, bring down the price of gas, that'll bring down the price of everything. And B, we're going to have tens of thousands of high-paying jobs in the energy sector, and so it's twofold. And C, we're going to not be on the teat of the Middle Eastern oil producers. who at any moment can just turn it off. I mean, Cutter the other day was saying, we're going to turn off the production for these guys. We're not going to sell it to you. That's a dangerous place to be, and we don't have to be in that place.
Before,
wait, one more thing, sorry.
Of course, please.
And finally, and really, maybe more importantly, as importantly, I want to make sure that we are protecting our future. The most important part of our future is the minds of our children. And right now, our children's minds are being poisoned. So I know President Trump wants to take that on. No more indoctrination in our schools. Kick these Marxists out. We want to teach our children that we are in an incredible, exceptional country. We want to teach them the Constitution, one of the most amazing documents ever written, the Constitution. We want to tell them about their rights and why America is so incredible, and we want to kick these people out who are psychologically abusing our children.
Before you came out here, we had a panel with January 6th defendants sharing their stories. Can you guys make a little noise if you learned something today about January 6th that you didn't know? You didn't know. Can you make some noise if the weaponization of our government is a top concern for you right now?
Absolutely. There's a lot, yeah. I mentioned 3 things. To be honest, and this is why you need to send a mom, a fed-up middle-aged mom, to Washington, D.C., we get stuff done. We get stuff done. I mean, we've all been there where we've got like 5 million things going on in the house, and we're cooking Thanksgiving dinner, and we're starting a load of laundry, and we're cleaning, sweeping the patio. We can get a lot of stuff done. There's a lot. There's things I didn't mention, and somebody might say, well, what about this? You didn't mention the crime on the streets. You didn't. There's so many problems right now in the world, and we need to go get them all done. And we've got to stop what's happening in our government. Our government has turned on we the people. This is the tyrants that our founding fathers were warning us about. It's our own government. And we need to return our government back to we the people. And we not only need to start immediately holding people accountable. We're figuring out who's who's been weaponized, who's turning our government against President Trump, the J6ers, and some of them are sitting right there in Congress. Some of them are sitting right there in Congress. I think of one who resides in California, Nancy Pelosi. I want to know what she knew. Why did she not have security there when President Trump offered that? Why? I think we all know. And so we need to start doing some investigations and immediately firing the people who we know were behind all of the persecution of our fellow citizens for exercising their First Amendment right. They've been persecuted. It's unbelievable.
Well, and it's not even just January 6th. I mean, we're talking about exercising your First Amendment right to go to a school board meeting, to go to church, and people are finding themselves based off of, their Christian values or, speaking out on behalf of their children at school boards. They're worried that the FBI is going to come and kick their door down and hold up. What are we going to do about this?
Well, I think this is how we have to look at how we're funding these agencies, and we have to get rid of the people. We have to do a deep dive into who was making these decisions. I think of the story of the Catholic father whose home was raided, his 5 children watching. And I think of what happened to our J6ers. You think about, look at President Trump. They're trying to stop him from being able to speak. He's on the campaign trail. There's just so many layers of it, but we have to start investigating that. And I think that has to be done immediately, starting on day 1, because if we've got our government continuing to work against us, it's going to be hard to get the other things done.
Would you be willing to take 2 or 3 questions from the audience just to hear what they have to say? Is that okay with you?
In Delray Beach, where I live, 20% of our population is in recovery. So usually addiction affects 10% of the people across the board. So in a room this size, it's about 1 person a table, with even more loving someone who's addicted. But what's happening now, what we're noticing is they're getting the materials from China, they're assembling it in Mexico, and it's coming across the border. You guys had a raid in Yuma not too long ago that was just unbelievable amounts of fentanyl in colorful. This is not addiction that we're dealing with now, it's poisoning.
It's a weapon of mass destruction.
It is a weapon of mass destruction. So my question to you is, I'm so passionate about this. I'm married to a recovered alcoholic. I am not an addict myself, but I am tired of losing our children. How do I get the chutzpah like you two have to stand up despite what people say, despite the death threats, despite they don't want addiction to go away?
I agree. I think they want to destabilize and destroy our country. And this is why they're doing, they have people pouring across right now. They've got a generation hooked on a drug that is not only deadly, it's incredibly addictive as well. One of my moms that I've gotten to know who lost her son said, a jumbo jet liner every day. Imagine a jumbo jet going down. We'd be horrified. That's how many people are dying from fentanyl poisoning. And this is why we need President Trump back in office. He's going to treat these cartels like the terrorist organizations they are. And we need to decimate the cartels. And we need to punish China for helping to, if you don't think that you can destroy, a civilization by drugs, look at the opium wars. Look at the opium wars, and this is what's going on. They're trying to take our young generation, and they're being very successful. And the problem is you get them cleaned up, you get someone cleaned up off drugs, which is really what we have to start doing, and immediately they get out, and there's a 50-cent pill that gets them right back on. And so it's a never-ending cycle. It's a never-ending cycle of addiction. The only way to end it, I believe, is to get Trump in office, put me in office, America First Patriots, and we will take care of this. We got to go after those cartels. I think that's really the main reason that they took our election day and they did what they did, because they knew that my border policy was the strongest, most aggressive. We were going to start treating the cartels as terrorist organizations, call it what it is, an invasion on our border, and we, the people in Arizona, were going to secure our own border, not rely on this feeble fool, Joe Biden. And our Constitution allows us to do that, Article 1, Section 10, and Clause 3. And I think the cartels and the powers that be said, uh-oh, she's going to do exactly that. We cannot let this woman in office because she will shut down our racket at the border.
Thank you so much for your time today and for being with us.
Thank you. I love you. I love this man, guys. Wow. Don't stop. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Mwah. You've got some great friends, by the way.
A lot.
You really do.
I'm very lucky. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your support of me personally. Thank you for your support of the Walkaway movement. Thank you for not giving up on the fight for America. Thank you for standing up for all of us and being a voice. And thank you for flying in the middle of the night to be here.
Oh, I'll get even with you, Brandon. No, I thought the event was this afternoon, actually, so I thought I had plenty of time. And then they're like, no, you have to drive as fast as you can over. No, it worked out great. I'm going to be relaxing the rest of the day, if that's okay. Yeah. And I just thank all of you for being here. No more retreating. No more being quiet. We're going to stand on, we're on the last hill right now. You guys know that, because these cowards have surrendered every damn hill. And we are on the last hill, and there's a whole mountain of mama bears in their high heels and papa bears and patriots on top of that hill, and there's not enough of them to take us down. So just remember that. When we're together, we're so strong, and thank you so much, everybody. I love you.
So let's give Kari a big round of applause as she exits the stage, and then I'm going to give you a few closing comments. I'm losing my voice. Perfect timing.